Hello, everyone. I'm Alex. You know, if you're in the continuous improvement world, you've probably seen it happen. Projects that start with a ton of energy and then they just lose steam or even fail outright. Today, we're going to talk about that missing piece, the thing that goes way beyond certification. We're talking about building a deep expertise that ensures your hard work actually sticks. I say this to my students all the time. Your certification, it gives you an amazing toolbox. You know how to do a statistical analysis. You know how to create a value stream map. But knowing when to use those tools, and maybe more importantly, how to get a whole organization to believe in the why behind them, well, that's a completely different ballgame. That comes from really understanding the core philosophy. Now, take a look at this number, 90%. Just let that sink in for a second. That's the percentage of continuous improvement projects that fail or are just flat out abandoned within 18 months. Think about all that effort, all that time, all those resources, just gone. This is the challenge, and overcoming it is what separates a certified practitioner from a true leader in an organization. So the big question is, how do you make sure you're in that successful 10%? Well, the answer isn't in another training manual. It's in building what I call your master library. And look, this isn't about just reading random books. It's about curating a powerful collection that builds the foundation for real, sustainable success. Okay, so where do we even begin? There are so many books out there. To make it simple, I've broken down all the essential knowledge into 3 core pillars. You've got methods, philosophy, and strategy. I promise you, every successful leader out there has a solid grasp on all 3. So here's the game plan. First, we'll cover the essentials, which is all about your technical toolkit. Then we're going to go deeper with the philosophy. This is the why behind everything we do. And finally, we'll get into the strategy, which is all about how you actually lead change and, make it last. Let's jump into Pillar 1, the essentials. Think of this as your foundation. These aren't the books that just sit on a shelf collecting dust. Nope. These are the go-to guides you'll have right on your desk, probably full of sticky notes, that you'll refer back to again and again. So every single practitioner needs 2 kinds of core references. First, you need the big one, the deep dive, like the Certified Six Sigma Black Belt Handbook. This thing is your encyclopedia. But just as important is the quick reference guide. And for that, the Lean Six Sigma Pocket Toolbook is absolutely perfect. I mean, imagine you're in a meeting and someone asks a tough question about a p-value or a control chart. You can just flip to a 1-page summary in seconds. It's a huge credibility booster, trust me. And for my fellow black belts listening, this next one is a must-have. A book like Six Sigma Black Belt Statistics is a total lifesaver. Instead of digging through huge textbooks, you can find the exact statistical test you need, and it's already organized by the DMAIC phase you're in. It saves hours of time and frustration. All right, on to Pillar 2. And honestly, this is my favorite part, the deep dive. This is where we move past how to use the tools and get to the heart of it all. We're talking about understanding the why, the fundamental principles of flow and waste elimination that are the bedrock of this whole field. It sounds a little weird, right? But what if I told you that one of the most powerful books ever written on process improvement isn't a textbook at all? It's a thriller. No kidding. The Goal tells this gripping story of a plant manager who is desperately trying to save his factory, and along the way, it teaches you more than a dozen manuals ever could. This book is just a masterclass in the theory of constraints. Through a story you can't put down, it teaches you how to spot and manage bottlenecks, those 1 or 2 things that are holding your entire system back. I guarantee it will fundamentally change the way you look at operational problems forever. Now, if you want something a little more direct, What is Lean Six Sigma is a fantastic overview. It just boils everything down to these 4 key ideas you see here: improving speed and quality, focusing on the process itself, working together as a team, and of course, making decisions based on data. It's the perfect book to hand to a manager or a new team member who needs to get the big picture fast. Okay, so here's the crucial point. You can have all the tools. You can even understand the philosophy inside and out. But if you can't lead change and make it stick, you're going to end up in that 90% failure group. This last pillar, this is all about leadership. The Six Sigma Way is a classic for a really good reason. It was one of the very first books that figured out how to translate all our technical engineering speak into the language of the C-suite. It showed executives exactly how reducing defects hits the bottom line, and it gave them a clear roadmap for how to roll it out across the entire company. It got leaders on board, And to bring this all full circle, Kevin Clay's book, Why They Fail, attacks that 90% failure rate head on. This isn't just theory. It breaks down real-world case studies of failure and then gives you a concrete 7-step plan to avoid those same mistakes and build a culture that actually lasts. All right, that was a lot of great info, but let's make this personal. Let's connect it all back to you. Where should you start building your own library right now, based on where you are in your journey? So what's your first step? It's pretty simple. If you're a yellow or a green belt, your main priority is mastering the tools. So start with the Pocket Toolbook. For my black belts, your focus has to shift to strategy, to the bigger picture. The Six Sigma Way is your guide. And you know what? No matter what your belt level is, Why They Fail is essential reading, because building a strong culture is absolutely everyone's job. You can think of it like this. Our accredited training programs, they give you the engine and the chassis of a high-performance car. This library, this is the high-octane fuel. One gives you that solid foundation, and the other gives you the strategic power to make your projects and your career really take off. So don't just read with a purpose. Stop wasting time and start building your expert library today. Head over to our website to get the complete curated list of all 10 books we've touched on here, and even a few more. And that really brings me to my final question for you. When you look at these 3 pillars, the tools, the philosophy, and the strategy, which one do you need to focus on right now? What will be the first book you read to make sure your hard work lands you in that successful 10%?